Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or for any other Aries placements. There may be a message in here for you. So Aries, thank you for your patience. Also, happy birthday if you are an Aries Sun. I'm getting a few messages to start off your reading. We've had a lot of Aries energy in the last few, month or two, that we had like the Mercury retrograde in Aries, the Venus retrograde in Aries, Aries season, the Aries new moon, Neptune moving into Aries. So a lot of Aries energy that we're sort of coming out of, and at the time I'm filming this, we're just coming out of the Libra full moon, which is a very interesting energy for you today, Aries, because I feel like there is something here. Because Aries, of course, this is coming through as sort of a collective energy, so it's not just for Aries, but Aries energy represents the self. And I feel like there is something here happening, especially with all the retrogrades that we just came out of, where maybe you are seeing versions of yourself from the past that maybe you are being asked to integrate. So the way that this is coming through is because, of course, different aspects of our identity can change and shift as we grow older, of course. The true self remains the same, though. The core of who you are remains the same throughout all of this. But so what it's coming through with is that, like, maybe you have been experiencing something where you are seeing something about a past version of yourself, or like an identity that you had, that is being asked to like be integrated. So how it was coming through, how I'm being asked to describe it is like, let's say in the past, however many years or whatever, that's just an example. It's going to be different for each of you. But let's say like years ago, you were a particular version. Let's call this version A. And let's say in version A of who you were, this aspect of your identity, maybe you had a certain role that you were playing, or perhaps you had some sort of identity that you were very strongly identified with, or perhaps you had some sort, like perhaps you were very much in your masculine energy, maybe you were more in your feminine energy, it doesn't matter. Version A was a particular form. And I feel like there was another version B, which was almost like different than that. It almost came through as being like another version of you that was meant to sort of balance version A. So version A and version B are coming through as like opposite identities that you may have had, or like roles that you were playing, and it could come through as like masculine versus feminine. I feel like right now, Aries, you're almost at like the quote unquote end of version B of who you are. Because it feels like you're moving into version C, which is really interesting. Like there's another version of yourself that's being reborn, is how it's coming through. So it's coming through as identity. It could be some sort of role, right? This could be like work related. It could be something with family, whatever it is. But it feels kind of like there's something about version B right now that's like wrapping up, or like coming to a close. Like it feels like you're in the transition between B and C. And I feel like there's something here which is really interesting, where version A of yourself, or version A of whatever this manifestation is almost wanting to be integrated into version C, because I feel like there's I hope this is making sense, where it's like version C is almost like the unification of version A and B coming together. That's how it's feeling. So it could be something where it's like maybe there are lessons that you learned when you were in version A, that are now being integrated with lessons that you learned in version B. And so it's kind of like there may be something painful or uncomfortable about that process, because I feel like version A of yourself is something that may have been associated with pain or shame or embarrassment or regret or any like grief. Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of feeling like version A of yourself may be associated with grief or loss or pain or shame, all of those sort of really tough energies and emotions that may be uncomfortable to take a look at, Aries, and you're being asked to do so because I feel like that's part of the rebirth process into version C of like whatever it is that you're exploring now, like this new identity is how it's coming through, or this new it could be like a timeline, it could be like a new path, it could be whatever it is for you. It's something new, but you have to integrate A and B together as part of the rebirth process. So there's a very strong Scorpio energy that's coming through. There could be something about Scorpio season or the Scorpio full moon, which would be next month, that may be significant to you in some way. I feel like Libra energy is also relevant in this case, because it could have to do with relationships, but it's also coming through as being your sense of self within relationship dynamics, and how that can change or shift or whatever it is. So, okay, Aries. There may be a grieving process. Very interesting. Okay. There may be a grieving process, but not of version A. It feels like version B right now, because version B is sort of coming through as being like who you are now, or where you are now, or something about the now, presently. It's kind of coming through as like a 10 of Pentacles. This version of you right now is going through a grieving process because it's coming to a close in some way as you move into version C of who you are. And I feel like version C is coming through as like something new. It's feeling really integrated. It's feeling like almost like a closure or a unification process that's happening. But again, with any sort of like transitional phase, there's discomfort. And I feel like perhaps also like mixed emotions, like feeling loss about where it is you are now, while also feeling excited to move into the future, right? So there's that kind of dynamic happening. So just being aware of that, Aries. Move through your emotions in a healthy way. I think that there's also something here about holding space for yourself and for other people in whatever it is that you're experiencing. I feel like as well, so it's April 14th as I'm filming this. Mars, which has been in Cancer for the last little while, will be moving into Leo on April 18th. So I feel like Mars moving into Leo will be an important energy to sort of help get the energies moving forward. Like, because I feel like Leo energy with the fire is going to be very supportive of you, Aries, to like move things forward. And then after it moves out of Leo, I feel like there's going to be a bit of relief is how it's coming through, because I don't know, I feel like Mars, because Mars has been in Cancer and Leo for like the last like 7 months. There was a retrograde and all that, or however many months it was, maybe like 10 months. That the last 7 to 10 months may have been a bit challenging for you, Aries, because it's been Mars has been, which is the ruler of Aries, has been out of its element, is just how it's coming through. So I feel like there is some relief on the way for you throughout whatever this transition is. Okay, Aries. I'm going to pull some cards for you. Okay. So, home flipped out, but I'm going to pull another because it sort of got flipped with a whole bunch of other cards, which I'm not going to take because they were face down. So, home is coming out, the 4th house. So, perhaps you're being asked to focus on home. Again, that's a Mars and Cancer energy because Cancer rules over the 4th house. Focus on home. It's also coming through with this message of like taking time to replenish your energy before going out to face whatever challenge it is that you may be facing. Being sure that you're replenishing your energy, Aries. And Gemini, yeah. When Mars moves into Gemini, which I feel like is, I don't know when that'll be, June or Gemini season might be significant to you in some way. You have Saturn structure at the bottom of the deck, which is in Pisces at the moment. Okay, interesting. This Gemini energy, cross-pollinate. I do like that. For you, it's feeling lighter, like something lighter, or you could be gather and share information. Interesting. This is also talking about sort of like your social network and things like that. Gemini's gift is an open mind and a sense of universal siblinghood. We are all in this together. The soul knows how to find itself back in equilibrium if we just let all parts communicate. Help the unexpressed feelings, persons, and elements within the community be heard. Okay. There is an aspect of community, but also sort of like a 3 of Pentacles energy coming through here with the Gemini aspect. I feel like maybe you're focused, Aries, on sort of like building a social network in some way, or collaborating with others, or just like going out and exploring different things. Gathering information is how it's feeling, or information, which is coming through really interestingly because it kind of feels like there may be like a group dynamic that's important here. Like maybe it's something where it's like you're learning about a group through sharing information, or perhaps there's a group there's a group dynamic coming through here with the hive. Like how information is sort of shared within the hive, especially about like where to find flowers, right? Like they're like where to find pollen, where to find nourishment, and the food source. It's kind of coming through like that. So it could be something related to resources as well. But it feels more like emotional resources, or relationship-based energy is how it's coming through. Like I feel like there's something here about like communication that's happening between you and a group about where to find the flowers, right? Where to find the pollen. I was also just getting there an energy of migration, Aries. There may be something here about, because especially with Gemini, like the bees are coming through as like a very powerful image and symbol for you, and the home, right? The hive is really highlighted. There may be something here about like protection of the hive, right? Like that kind of thing. Like how bees communicate. There may be something about gossip. I'm not gonna lie about that, Aries. Like how messages are communicated within a group. And of course, human beings are very social animals. And so I'm going to say biological or ecological reason for why gossip may exist is in order to create group cohesion. And if there is something within the group that is not cohesive, that's when sort of like things get stirred up, right? Like I feel like there's something like that happening for you, Aries. Like it kind of feels like there's something where it's like a lot of information is being shared within a group about something that's not cohesive. And trying to, I don't know, correct that in some way or adjust for that in some way. Okay, and with Saturn at the bottom of the deck, which is an energy of structure, there's perhaps something about like a group structure or like how a certain structure or hive, for lack of a better word, how it's built. Or how it's built. Maybe there are like power dynamics that are happening, or like if it's not power dynamics, it could be like relational dynamics, right? Like how different members of a group connect to one another, right? And perhaps even the roles that you play in these relational roles, right? Like there's something like that. And I feel like for you, Aries, there's something about your role that is shifting. It feels like, hold on, it does feel like that. Like something about your role is shifting into version C of whatever this is for you, which is coming through as being like an integration, like a unification of past versions of self. All the lessons you learned, all the gems that you gained. Okay, so you have man, dealings or relationship with a man. Chair filled. Someone new is coming into your life. Someone new is entering your life. So it doesn't have to be a man in terms of gender. It could just be referring to masculine energy. But usually it's going to come through like that for you. So just take it how it resonates. There could be a new masculine energy entering your life. You have here wind chimes, peace and harmony. Which I love that card because it's a reassurance. It's a reassurance that whatever the situation is, I feel like is harmonious. It does feel like that. It feels harmonious. You have key, successful outcome to your problems. And then rabbit, too much concern with sexual matters. Interesting. Could I get one more? Haystack, karma, you will reap what you have sown. You have success at the bottom of the deck and the cup, which says you should accept valid criticism, Aries. Okay. The too much concern with sexual matters I feel like maybe there's something about that that's being corrected. Whether it's within you or within a group or something like that, it does feel kind of like there is something here with a group dynamic where it's like maybe there's like behavior or something that's being corrected. Perhaps there's a masculine energy. Again, it doesn't have to be necessarily a man. It could be just someone with a lot of masculine energy, even if they're female presenting, where it's like there's something successful, some sort of successful outcome that's coming from this. And I feel like with the haystack, there are lessons that are being learned within a group is how it's coming through. Within a group, there are lessons, excuse me, being learned. It almost is coming through with like, I'm getting this image now with like the bees, right? The bees, of course, are symbol for human dynamics. But it's coming through like this. Like imagine there is a hive that has been under the control of some sort of energy that was harmful. And it's almost like the bees were under some sort of illusion is how it's coming through, or like a fog or like a grogginess or something like that in the hive that was preventing them from finding flowers or nourishment. And it's like one bee or handful of bees or whatever comes into the hive and like tells the bees, stop drinking from those flowers because they're not good for us. They are causing us to be drowsy. Like imagine the bees were only eating from one type of flower or whatever metaphor, where like one bee is saying, actually, these flowers are really bad for us. We should not be eating from these flowers. We should not be collecting pollen from these flowers because it's putting us in a fog and we should not be doing that. But I feel like that was rejected or like, no. That information was very, very hard to accept by the group. And it could be something, Aries, where it's like there's a masculine energy that's doing that. Like a masculine energy is providing the key, saying we cannot eat from those flowers, right? Like that kind of thing. And I feel like there's something here where it's like finally a group of bees are starting to listen to the one who came in to alert about this problem, right? Saying like, we have to stop eating from those flowers. So it feels kind of like there is like peace and harmony coming in because it's correcting something that I feel like was a problem. That's how it's coming through. And there's lessons being learned. Like, because I feel like there's something here where it's like the bees, the other bees are learning about what the healthy flowers look like or smell like or whatever it feels like or tastes like, or, you know, it's a metaphor. I hope that makes sense, Aries. I don't know who you are in this situation. Maybe you are, I don't know, maybe you are the bee who's alerting. Maybe you're part of a group and you're being alerted to something like that. It doesn't matter though. In whatever way, you're part of this dynamic. And so there may be a lesson for you to learn as well. Again, because it does feel kind of like your role is changing. Your role within a group is changing. Perhaps because of this. Maybe because you were a key part in shifting something that was not in alignment. Because I feel like, with the rabbit card, it doesn't have to necessarily be sexual matters. It could be like, because the rabbit is coming through, especially from this deck, as being an energy of like anxiety or having like too much energy and not a proper outlet for it. So it gets sort of distorted or comes out as being like inappropriate in some way. That's how it's coming through. In whatever way it is. It doesn't have to be necessarily sexual. It just feels like it could also be like creational wounding is how it's feeling. Like either not enough creational output or too much to the point where it's depleted, right? It could be something like that, like a sacral chakra wound. It does feel, though, like your role is changing within this dynamic, Aries. I don't know in what way, though. Okay. Yeah. The dawn that follows the prolonged night. Yeah. Okay, Aries. Notice and meditate on the first glimmers of light in dark spaces and times. Whether you are in a full-fledged dark night of the soul, or you are experiencing an uncomfortable lack of clarity in some particular aspect of your life, know that a new awareness is starting to form that will illuminate this murky territory, and soon the right next steps will be clear to you. This archetype is an indication that at least the first faint traces of light are already starting to glow in dark places, just as dawn begins so subtly that we only notice it once it's well underway. The same is true of our experience of emerging from dark periods of pain and confusion. Contrary to popular belief, thinking is usually not the best way to solve a problem. In fact, it's our thinking that tends to get us into trouble spots and then keep us stuck there. This is because our attention can only take in so much information at once, and our thoughts, if not stilled periodically, actually get in the way of our tools of perception. This is like a detective trying to solve a mystery without enough clues. If you're in the darkness, the best thing to do is turn down the volume on your thoughts and turn up the volume on your other senses. What do you notice in your body and in your emotions? What do you notice around you? Close your eyes, listen closely, feel deeply and intricately, both inwardly and into the space around you. Then open your eyes and take another look. Once you know better what is actually happening within and around you, insights will come without effort. Yeah. Maybe you need to start waking up before the sun, Aries. I know that's such a random piece of guidance for you, but there's something about watching the sunrise on something that is coming through for you. It feels like a very hopeful image. I feel like, I feel like you're in this period of like the ending of version B, whatever that is for you, and into the dawn of version C, whatever that is for you. I feel like there's something here where like you're at the dawn of something. It's already starting to come into being, but there may be this mourning process or grieving process of whatever the night is for you, which is really interesting because you would think that one would be happy to let go of something that's a dark night of the soul, but it's not always. It's not always easy to let go of your suffering. It's not always easy to let go of grief and pain and hurt. Sometimes we hold on to it as human beings. We hold on to what feels comfortable. And that may have been suffering for you. Maybe you got used to a particular way of being that was highlighted by pain or suffering. And it's kind of like that is coming to an end for you, Aries. And it's like, go through the grieving process of that. And there's discomfort of there in that, because I feel like, especially with the rabbit energy coming through, that there may be like an anxiety about wanting to get to the dawn, the day, the sunlight, the new thing, whatever it is, faster. But it's saying, like, take a minute to grieve this version of you that is coming to a close, because even if there was suffering or pain or hardship, there was gems there as well. And I feel like there's something about that that you may be asked to let go. Okay. If it is truly yours, let it go and it will come back to you. I know that's so cliche and it's hard to do. But I do believe it's part of the importance of sacrifice. Okay. To make something sacred. Inspiration. The parietal, which is up here. The parietal lobe in your brain is responsible for problem solving, actually, and also spatial awareness, which is very interesting, and also like how we process time, which is very interesting that this part of your brain is coming through, because I feel like a lot of people think that what differentiates humans from monkeys, for example, is the frontal lobe, right? Our ability to like make executive decisions and things like that, to like plan for the future, to like create all of these things through like action and all of that. But what else is different from monkeys and humans is the parietal lobe, which is back here, which is coming through as like navigational space, our ability to perceive time and like sequential processes and things like that. But it's coming through as space. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna read that card. I don't know if there was a message in there for you. I feel like maybe there's something about space, like a physical space that is changing for you. Okay. The magical melding of yourself, your higher self, and inspired guidance is the impetus of conscious creation. To do anything with inspiration, to move it from the etheric to the physical, it must be embodied. The role of the parietal bone is to integrate what it means to be moved, understanding divine inspiration not as something separate from the self, but as something integral to it. To move with inspiration means you cannot hold it too tightly. When you restrict this flow of energy, you restrict others as well. You stagnate in identity, repress your dreaming self, and place expectations around what you are creating. When you hold the impetus of conscious creation tightly, it cannot do what it's meant to do. This creative portal is a channel to the flow of the divine energy, beings, and inspiration that are here to guide your co-creative life. Inspiration desires to move from your head to your heart and attune how you receive and give. It needs to drop from your heart to your pelvis and align how you activate your purpose and receive support. Let inspiration move through you so it can move your life in the direction of your dreams. Where do I feel most inspired? How does my body feel in this state of inspiration? How much control am I willing to release to allow the flow of divine inspiration and guidance? Which parts of me are receptive to living an inspired co-creative life, and which parts are resistant? Yeah. Aries, I feel like there is something here about like letting go of control, which I know for an Aries is going to be a bit of a challenge for you, because it's like something is being given to you here from above, right? It's kind of coming through as like this melding of yourself, your higher self, and something being consciously created in that space. And it's like, let go of control, let go of how you think it should look. Get out of your head is actually how it's coming through, and into your body, especially with this card, because the dawn that follows the prolonged night is coming through with this message of like, it's already starting to form. You don't have to think your way out of this problem, Aries. I feel like there is something about like your conscious control that you're being asked to surrender and let go. You don't have to control this, whatever it is. I feel like it's already underway. Just receive is how it's coming through. And I feel like you're already starting to see the signs of the inspiration as well. Yeah. Let go of judgment. I do feel though, for a time, you will be in sort of a, like, I know grieving process sounds like such a heavy energy, but it feels more like a letting go, a releasing with the Libra full moon. You're letting go of something that's been heavy is how it's feeling. And that also comes with grief. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Aries, I hope that was helpful. If this message resonated with you, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.